Dana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Go Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gaura Haribo, 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 Gaura Haribo. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pradibhaja Kacharya Ashto Tara Sisiman Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Sri Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pradibhaja Kacharya Ashto Tara Sisiman Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Thakur Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind Ki Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the Samati devotees. All glories to the Samati. All glories to the Samati. Glory to Shri Guru, Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. First of all, it's a pleasure to be back in Bangalore after many years. Bengaluru. Before, when last time I was here, it was Bangalore, now it's Bengaluru. So, changes, the material world is always changing. And now we will read about the unchangeable. This changing world can drive us crazy, but it's samsara. It's just the same thing over and over again. It's like we were walking in a little park today, and same thing, go round and round, just like samsara. So, but we want to go back to Krishna. So I chose one verse. I would actually the ideal verse for this event is 9:2, but the purport is very long. So I chose this verse, which also is fairly long, but not so long. This is 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, text number 1. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam Tatte Guyatamam Vaksham Suyave Jnana Vijnana Sahitam Yajgatva Mokshase Shubhat. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam tu te guyatamam Vaksham Yanasuyave Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam Yajgatva Mokshase Shubhat. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Nantate Guyatamam Vaksham Yanasuyave Jnana Vijnana Sahitam Yajgatva Mokshase Shubhat. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam tatte guyatamam Vakshamyana suyave Jnana Vijnana Sahitam Yajgatva Mokshase Shubhat. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idute guyatamam Vakshamyana suyave Jnana Vijnana Sahitam Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Nivanjante Guyatamam Pravakshamyana Suyave Jnana Vijnana Sahitam Mokshase Shubhat. Vaishnavi. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Guyatamam Vakshamyana Suyave Jnana Vijnana Sahitam Yajgatva Mokshase Shubhat. Sri Bhagavan Vacha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Idam, this, to, but, te, unto you, Guyatamam, the most confidential, Avakshami, I am speaking, Anasuyave, to the non-envious, Jnanam, knowledge, Vijnana, realized knowledge, Sahitam, with, Yat, which, Yatva, knowing, Mokshase, you will be released, Ashubhat, from this miserable material existence. Can you lower this? Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. Please repeat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. Purport. As a devotee hears more and more about the Supreme Lord, he becomes enlightened. This hearing process is recommended in Srimad Bhagavatam. The messages of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are full of potencies, and these potencies can be realized if the topics regarding the Supreme Godhead are discussed among devotees. This cannot be achieved by the association of mental speculators or academic scholars, for it is realized knowledge. Om Jnanatamidandasya Gananjana Sharakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Vichaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Vayam Rupakata Ayam Raktishva Rantikam Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastyati Dishatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashari Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. We are very fortunate to have with us His Holiness Guru Prasad Swami Maharaj. Maharaj is born in USA and studied nuclear physics at Purdue University. And after becoming enchanted with the science, he transferred to the University of Texas, where Maharaj made contact with the Hare Krishna movement. But it was later during Maharaj's military service at Panama when this encounter with ISKCON changed his life dramatically. Upon concluding his military service, Guru Prasad Maharaj joined a pioneering group of Krishna devotees in Central America, stationed in San Jose, Costa Rica. Maharaj attended the 1976 Mayapur Vrindavan festival And that was the time Maharaj was initiated by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And Maharaj received his sannyas initiation in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil in 1982. Guru Prasad Maharaj's early contribution in ISKCON Costa Rica centered on administrative services and distributing BBT publications, beginning in 1975 in the USA and from 76 to 78 in Central America. Maharaj became the temple president of Costa Rica Temple in 1978 and then began traveling around Latin America, opening new temples, establishing worship centers, and collaborating in diverse administrative services. In 1987, Maharaj became a member of GBC with zonal assignments in the Tucson area of Arizona and Mexico. Maharaj is co-zonal secretary for El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Panama, Belize, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Colombia, Trinidad, Tobago, and Venezuela. Interested in essential role that communication plays in ISKCON's progress and in the lives of individuals associated with it, Guru Prasad Swami Maharaj seeks to assist devotees cooperate in harmony personally and collectively through clear and open communication. So we are very fortunate that we are able to have Maharaj's personal association here at ICC. So let us express our gratitude and thank Maharaj for giving his valuable association by chanting Hare Krishna mantra once. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Also today on the auspicious occasion of the Gita Jayanti, we are able to hear from Maharaj on the Bhagavad Gita. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Srila Prabhupada begins his purport by saying that from Satam Prasangam Mama Virya Sambido Bhavanti Karna Rasayana Kata Joshana Rashva Vargavartmani Shraddha Rattir Bhakti Anukamishati. He's paraphrasing from Kapila Dev, who is revealing to us the importance of associating with devotees. Mama Virya Sambido. Mama Virya Sambido means either speaking about the glories of the Lord or the Lord who is most glorious because of his wonderful virtuous activity, one or the other. And this is very potent because it enters into the ear and penetrates the heart. This is the power of this knowledge. So, Srila Prabhupada here is speaking about this knowledge, idam, this I am imparting unto you. So, we'll continue with the purport. The devotees are constantly engaged in the Supreme Lord's service. The Lord understands the mentality and sincerity of a particular living entity who is engaged in Krishna consciousness and gives him the intelligence to understand the science of Krishna in the association of devotees. Discussion of Krishna is very potent. Just like elsewhere in the Bhagavatam, it says that Pravishtakarna Randre Na Swanam Bhavam Saroham, that the Lord enters the ear into the heart and sits in the heart and instructs devotee Dunoti Shamalam Krishna, and cleanses away all unnecessary things. Salilasya Yata Shara, just like the autumn rains that cleanse the muddy waters of the rainy season. So this is also, it's very potent because it's Krishna. Chetodarpana Marjanam Baba Mahat Bhakti Yugapan. Because Binatvam Namanamino, there's no difference between Krishna and his holy name. And therefore, the holy name is so potent. So, then he will surely make advancement towards spiritual realization. Lord Krishna, in order to encourage Arjuna to higher and higher elevation in his potent service describes in this 9th chapter matters more confidential than he has already disclosed. So the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is the most intimate. It is the heart of the Bhagavad Gita and describes devotional service. And then Krishna further describes how devotional service makes us dear to him in the 12th chapter. So anyway, now the next paragraph, I'm going to skip over this next paragraph because it's summarizing what the different chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Well, we can read it because we're talking about Bhagavad Gita. The very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, the first chapter, is more or less an introduction to the rest of the book. And in the 2nd and 3rd chapters, spiritual knowledge described is called confidential. Topics discussed in the 7th and 8th chapters are specifically related to devotional service because they bring enlightenment in Krishna consciousness. They are called more confidential, but matters which are described in the 9th chapter deal with unalloyed pure devotion. Therefore, this is called the most confidential, guhyatamam. So we see the first 3 chapters are guhya. The next chapters, as Srila Prabhupada says, especially 7 and 8, are guhyatara. And this chapter is guhyatamam. And in the next, in the beginning of the 10th chapter, Krishna says, now I will reveal something to you. Shrinu me paramam vacha. Even more confidential. Why is the 10th chapter more confidential? Because it is the Chatushloki. It is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sabam pravartate. That Krishna is the source of everything. And therefore, machchita madgata prana, odyantas parasparam, katyantas chamam nicham, tushanti cha, ramanti cha. And therefore, devotees, because it's so confidential, they feel the highest bliss. We'll talk about that in a few minutes from this. And to take priyatamam, and I am giving this to you because you're very dear to me. As Krishna says, Pakshame hitakamyaya. Hitakamyaya. There's no benefit for me. I already know this. And I'm not, you're already my friend, as Krishna says in the 4th chapter. I'm revealing this knowledge to you. This very confidential idam proktam puratana. Because bhaktosi me sakachati. Because you are my devotee and my friend. Someone may be a devotee, and Krishna will reveal. But Krishna revealed everything to Arjuna in 45 minutes. And so that's how long it takes Krishna to speak Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada said in some places 30 minutes, some places 45 minutes, another place an hour. But he could reveal everything so thoroughly and quickly to Arjuna because he's not only his devotee and his friend. We might take 35 years or even some people 35 lifetimes to understand Bhagavad Gita. But if you become Krishna's friend, and he said in Bhagavad Gita, Suridham Sarvabhutana, that I am your best friend. Why is he our best friend? Because he never gives up on us. Even we deny his existence. Sometimes we totally forget about him. In the animal species, in the bird species, in the insect species, who knows anything about Krishna? And even as human beings, people are generally speaking atheists, agnostics, Mayavadis, Sahajas, all insulting Krishna, imitating Krishna, denying Krishna's existence. But Krishna is always there in the heart, encouraging us. And he acts externally, indirectly as material nature. So material nature is also very merciful because she is teaching us what this material world is actually like, what it can offer us. It offers so much suffering. But I just want to go, before I finish the purport, I want to go to the next verse, which is actually describes Bhagavad Gita, Raja Vidya. It is the king of knowledge, Raja Guhyam. It will answer every question that you may have. Pavitram idam uttamam. It is the supreme purifier. I will just go a little bit into Srila Prabhupada's purport. He says, Raja Vidya, Prabhupada says in his purport that there are so many institutions in education. Narahari Prabhu told me that there are how many colleges right around this area? 20 some colleges, universities. And no, but who is teaching about the soul? This was Prabhupada's point. They're teaching so many things, technology, IIT, and what do you get? You simply, science is studying, try to reduce Krishna down to the irreproachable, the smallest possible particle. When Krishna says, he says, yes, Anuraniyan Mahato Mahiyan. That yes, I am the smallest, I'm also the biggest. So they had one experiment trying to find the God particle. And they built this huge reactor in Switzerland, bigger than any other nuclear reactor. And they broke down and saw the, everything, neutrons, protons, electrons, pi mesons, and then further and further. And then they thought, there it is, the God particle. And then it escaped. It just went up through France and England and disappeared. And they spent hundreds of millions of dollars to build this reactor. And then the God particle ran away. Otherwise, they don't know what they're doing. That's actually why I quit studying physics, because I asked them, how do we know that all these little lines we see on the screen are actually what you say they are? We can't see them, but they have to be, because it's according to our formula. And I said, well, how do you know the formula is right? And so anyway, because they couldn't, it all had to be because. So I said, this sounds like religion. It's based on faith. You have faith that your formula is right, and you see something on the screen, and therefore it's confirming what you say. And then a few years later, they came out with string theory and this theory and that theory and quantum. And so I said, forget this. And luckily, Krishna gave me Bhagavad Gita. So Srila Prabhupada says that about Raja Vidya. Raja Guhyam, Srila Prabhupada says, this Raja Guhyam, it's the most confidential. It is the most confidential. Secret, mystery. Mystery means ignorance. If something is mysterious, it means ignorance. But Krishna is very mysterious, because we are all ignorant of Krishna, and we will always be ignorant of Krishna. But a devotee is not ignorant of Krishna. Ignorant means to ignore. We don't ignore, but we acknowledge that I cannot know Krishna fully. As much as I can know, and that's enough. So then Krishna says that Bhagavad Gita is the purest, pavitram idam uttamam. And Srila Prabhupada gives the example from Padma Purana. Parabhya param praptam kutam bijam palom kramenaiva paliyate Vishnu bhakta vatam. Those who are engaged in devotional service, all sinful reactions are taken away. Therefore, it is the purest of all pure things. And then pratyaksha bhagamam dharma. It is dharma. It is directly the direct perception of dharma. It is not. It's not something that we can understand by logic and reason, but it gives us direct perception of the Supreme Personality of God. Therefore, it's stated in the verse that we actually read, Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam. This is knowledge, but this knowledge must have Vijnana. And what is that Vijnana? That Vijnana is bhakti, devotional service. Otherwise, if you read Bhagavad Gita, even the most intelligent, one of the most intelligent personalities of the last century, and still celebrated as probably one of the most intelligent persons, Albert Einstein. He could not accept Krishna as a person. He would read Bhagavad Gita. He was vegetarian, but he could not understand Krishna. Why? Because even with his great brain, he could not understand how karma works. The point is, even though he had such a great brain and he had Bhagavad Gita, he did not have parampara. Therefore, Krishna says in his first explanation of Bhagavad Gita, he says, Idam vivasvasan yogam, that I, igam visvasvate yogam, I have given, proktavan aham abhyayam, I have given this imperishable knowledge. And Krishna says imperishable. Why? Because he gave it, as Srila Prabhupada makes the calculation, at a very minimum 120 million years ago. That's quite a long time. Historians say human beings have only been around for 50,000 years. And those human beings weren't very human, according to them. They were ape-like. Just, of course, they say evolving from the ape. One time, Srila Prabhupada was speaking to a scientist. He said, yes, evolution is there. We have evolved from the apes. And he said it like 5 times. And Prabhupada said, yes, I agree. You have evolved from the apes. And I have evolved from Krishna. No. Yes, if you believe that, I believe, yes, you have ape-like mentality. No. So this Bhagavad Gita, direct perception. Direct perception, Srila Prabhupada defines in his purport that direct perception means chanting the Maha Mantra. And susukam, it is pleasurable, as I just stated, tushanti cha ramanti cha, that a devotee, by hearing and speaking Bhagavad Gita, they become blissful. And Srila Prabhupada says that a devotee in any stage of life, in any condition of life, susukam, is blissful. Even if a devotee is very poor, they are blissful. Just like Sudam Brahman. He was extremely poor, but he was so happy in devotional service. When his wife requested him, please go to your friend Krishna, and that friend Krishna, he will give you something. I can't serve you properly. We're so poor. I can't cook for you. And he said, no, I don't want to bother Krishna. This is the devotee. A devotee does not want to disturb Krishna. But Krishna says, please disturb me. Aham tvam sarva papibhyo mokshayishami ma shucha. He says, you must surrender to me. Sarvanamam Parichaja, Mamekam Sharanam Raja. You must surrender to me. So therefore we have to depend on him. But even then a devotee says, I will depend on him that he will give me all blessings so that I can serve him. But I will use my intelligence to figure out how to serve him. I am not going to disturb Krishna. You've already given me everything here in Bhagavad Gita. And so this is Susukam. And Srila Prabhupada says, real Susukam means when we chant the Maha Mantra. And Prabhupada says specifically in this purport that you chant the Maha Mantra without offenses, and then you feel some happiness. Otherwise, sometimes Srila Prabhupada says chanting without offenses means that you are on the platform of Vishuddha Sattva, which is true. But even on the platform of Vishuddha Sattva, we can go and we can leave. Even up to Bhava Bhakti, we can still fall down into material nature, as witnessed by Bharat Maharaj. He was on the platform of Bhava Bhakti, and he fell down. Of course, that was Yoga Maya that caused that to happen, and therefore he remembered, even as a deer, he remembered all of his previous activity because it was Yoga Maya. Otherwise, one would not remember so clearly. And Bilvamangala Thakur, he was on the platform of Bhava Bhakti, and also by the Lord's Yoga Maya. He fell down. So, chanting offenselessly means you must continue to chant offensively, not just one time. Although one time brings you so much bliss, as in the case of Ajamya, chanting one time offenselessly, he got the opportunity to go to Hardwar. If you chant offenselessly, then you can achieve the platform of liberation. Srila Prabhupada makes this point also in this purport to the 9.2. He says that to actually enter into bhakti, you have to be liberated. Brahma Bhuta Pasanatmana Shochati Nakangshati Samasarvashu Bhuteshu. The Brahma Bhuta platform means you see every living entity equally. There's no man, woman, black, white, this or that. All these designations are gone. Shochati Nakangshati. There's no lamentation. There's no hankering. Otherwise, I don't live in, like everyone in this material world lives in the past or in the future. The young people live in the future. This I can do this. I can, and the old people live in the past. I remember. I don't know if anyone you go to some old family member and they pull out all kinds of pictures and tell you all their glories. I remember when I did this, I did that, and everyone's sitting there. When will he finish? So, but a devotee is free from that, and a devotee is happy. Prasanatma, he's happy. And mad bhaktir labate param. From there, you start devotional service. So real devotional service comes after liberation. A Brahmin is trying to achieve liberation, but a devotee has achieved liberation and goes beyond liberation. And therefore, so if a devotee is poor, they are they're happy in devotional service. And a devotee is wealthy, they're happy in devotional service. Wealth brings the greatest misery. Although people think that if I have money, I can be happy. But actually, I've seen wealthy people are the most miserable because they're always fearful. They're always afraid that I will lose. Bhagavad Gita, Pita Ragabhaya Krodha. Bhagavad Gita takes us beyond attachment, beyond fear, and beyond anger. But a wealthy person is experiencing all these things constantly. Attachment, they have so many possessions. They're so attached. The more you have, there was one songwriter in the 1960s. He said, If you ain't got nothing, you got nothing to worry about. You know? So, but a wealthy person has so much, and they're always in anxiety. How will I protect this? Will my manager take my business away? Well, no, always in anxiety. I've seen it. And wealthy people are always so busy trying to protect all their possessions. But a devotee can be wealthy or not wealthy. Yudhishthira Maharaj, he was given a whole kingdom, and he felt like it was just a source of anxiety because so many people had to die. Bhishma had to convince him that no, this is Krishna's desire, so you should be happily manage this place. Parikshit Maharaj, he had all his kingdom, but when he was cursed, he said, now I was happy, taking care of the kingdom for Krishna, and now I'm very happy that Krishna's taken it all away. In any condition, a devotee is free from all anxiety. And so susukam kartam abhyayam, and a devotee understands that this is imperishable. It's imperishable. Now Krishna, then he tells Arjuna, Evam parampara praptam imam raja arshayo vidu. Now Krishna in the beginning, he gave it to Vivasvan. And then Vivasan, Manave Praha. Vivasvan gave it to Manu, and Manu Iksha Kave Kavit. He spoke it to Ikshvaku. So Prabhupada said Ikshvaku lived approximately 2 million years ago. So therefore, minimum Ikshvaku lived 2 million years. So therefore, the Bhagavad Gita, as it is, not something that Prabhupada gave. It's something that Krishna gave to Vivasvan to Manu to Ikshvaku, and Krishna to Arjuna. So this is, we're speaking about Gita Jayanti, but the real Gita Jayanti was 120 million years ago, and that was even before that. That was just in this particular Manyavatar. And then beyond that, so Bhagavad Gita is abhyayam. It is beyond any cessation, or any creation and any cessation. And so this is Krishna's revelation to us. So I'll just finish this purport, because there's some, and this is the very important part of the purport of the verse we're considering today, 9:1. Now the first verse has specific significance. The words idam jnanam, this knowledge, refer to pure devotional service, and therefore jnana vijnana sahitam. Therefore, the knowledge results in pure devotion, which consists of 9 different activities: hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshiping, praying, obeying, maintaining friendship, and surrendering everyone. By the practice of these 9 elements of devotional service, one is elevated to spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness. When one's heart is thus cleared of material contamination, one can understand this science of Krishna. Simply to understand that a living entity is not material is not sufficient. That may be the beginning of spiritual realization. But one should recognize the difference between the activities of the body and the spiritual activities of one who understands that he is not this body. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yo yo yam yam tanum bhakta shradhaya chitam ichati tasya chala shraddha. This is very important, that he says, wherever you put your faith, that is your deity. And how do we know where our faith is placed? By our main activity in our day. What is the main thing I do every day? Even if I work, Srila Prabhupada mentions in the 9.2 that even though a devotee may appear to work like someone else, just like Rupa Goswami says, Iha yasya harir dasye kamana manasa gira nikilas vasyavastasu nikilas avyavastasu. The devotee may appear to be like anyone else, but because he only worships Krishna within this world, and how does he do it? Karmana manasa gira. All of his activities, all of his thoughts, and all of his words are dedicated to the Supreme Personality of God. And therefore, even though he appears to be doing mundane work, I'll give an example. This is a true example. There was one devotee working in USA, in the city of Detroit, which is called Motor City. That's where they used to make all the cars. Now they have, making cars all over the world. But 50 years ago, practically all cars were made there, maybe 80 years. And so this one devotee was working in a factory, putting bolt number 27 into screw number 55. That's what he did. And so everybody else, but he was always smiling and happy. And all the workers said, what's wrong? Is he crazy? Just putting one bolt into a screw all day long? We're all miserable. So they asked him, why are you happy? Are you crazy? No. He said, I'm happy for two reasons. I take a special kind of food that makes you happy. It's called prasadam. And there's a special saying, a special prayer. It's called Maha Mantra. And he taught them all the Maha Mantra, and he started bringing prasadam. And everybody became happy, and they all started being happy. They were working harder. So the owner of the company came and gave him a promotion for chanting Hare Krishna. So that's how Maha Mantra even can make you materially successful. But of course, we don't chant to become material, but this is a byproduct. It will make you spiritually happy and materially happy. So this is Krishna consciousness. This is Bhagavad Gita. We realize Bhagavad Gita, it becomes complete and perfect. And then Srila Prabhupada makes in the last paragraph of this purport. The Sanskrit word anusuyave in this verse is also very significant. Generally, the commentators, even if they are highly scholarly, are all envious of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even the most erudite scholars write on Bhagavad Gita very inaccurately because they are envious of Krishna. Their commentaries are useless. The commentaries given by devotees of the Lord are bona fide. No one can explain Bhagavad Gita or give perfect knowledge of Krishna if he is envious. One who criticizes the character of Krishna without knowing him is a fool. So such commentaries should be very carefully avoided. One who understands that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the pure and transcendental personality, to them, these chapters will be very beneficial. So these are some aspects of Bhagavad Gita. And I want to conclude by reading, and we'll read the 7 verses of the Gita Mahatmya. Of course, if you know it, I used to know it, but I forgot it after so many years. So we'll start with first verse, and Gita Shastramidam Punyam Ya Patet Payata Pumam. If one properly follows the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, he can be freed from the miseries and anxieties of life. Bhaya Shokhadi Varjitaha. So when Vyasadeva was meditating on the instructions of Narada Muni, he said that Yasyam Bhai Shuryamanayam Krishna Parama Purushe. He said that by hearing this wonderful Srimad Bhagavatam, people will understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then what will be the result? Shoka moha bhaya paha. That they will give up shoka, moha, bhaya, and all things, as it says here, that in the first bhaya, shok, adi, all the things, anxiety, all these things will go away by the mercy of Bhagavad Gita. And then in the second verse, Prabhupada said, this is another advantage. These are all advantages of reading Bhagavad Gita. Gita dhyayana shilasya panayama parasvacha naiva shanti papani purva janma kritani cha. The other side of the pictures here. Another advantage, if one reads Bhagavad Gita very sincerely and with all seriousness, then by the grace of the Lord, the reactions of his past misdeeds will not act upon him. So it takes away, it eliminates karma. You can't eliminate karma by prayaschitta. This was the question and argument of Parikshit Maharaj. What is the use of going to hellish planets if you just come back and do the same thing again and again? And so Shukadeva Goswami said, Kechit Kibalaya Bhakta Narayana Parayanaha Vasudeva Parayanaha, that you become fixed in this very rare devotional service of the Supreme Personality of God. So here, all these reactions are they go away. How? Krishna promises, if you just surrender to me, I will take care of everything. So then further advantage. Mala nirmochanam pumsam jalasnanam dine dine sakrit gitam gitamita snanam samsara malanashanam. One may cleanse himself daily by taking bath in water. But if one takes bath even once in the sacred Ganges water of Bhagavad Gita, for him, the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished. So there's one verse which I'll read from Bhagavatam, which illustrates this in the beginning of the first canto, first chapter, 15th verse. Yat pala samshaya sutta munayam prashamayana sadhya punantipasricha swarjunyapo nusevaya. O Sutta, those great sages who have completely taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord can at once sanctify those who come in touch with him, whereas the waters of the Ganges can sanctify only after prolonged use. So Bhagavad Gita is so powerful that it gives us the benefit because it's coming from Arjuna. Arjuna is the beginning of our Bhagavad Gita parampara. So then, Gita Sugita Kartavya Kim Anya Shastra Vistarai Yat Swayam Padmanabhasya Mukta Padmat Vinishita. Because Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one not need read any other Vedic literature. One need only attentively and regularly hear the Bhagavad Gita. So, what about Bhagavatam? Bhagavatam says the same thing in the second verse. Ishvara Kim Parai. What is the use of any other literature? But so that means the Bhagavad Gita in itself is sufficient. But because Krishna has revealed Bhagavatam so that we can, because Bhagavad Gita establishes us in Sambandha Gyan. And Sambandha Gyan is sufficient to become liberated from the material world. But to establish us in Abhideya Gyan, then Shukadeva Goswami has given us Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, Krishna gave it. He made the arrangement. Parikshit Maharaj said, how could I have done such an abominable thing? It must be Krishna. There must be some purpose coming from Krishna. And the purpose was to reveal Srimad Bhagavatam. because, and even after Shukadeva spoke, the sages of Naimisharanya were confused because Bhagavatam is very elevated. So Prabhupada said that you can actually go back home, back to Godhead with Bhagavad Gita, but you might end up going to Vaikuntha. If you read Bhagavatam, then, especially 10th canto, then you will want to go to Goloka Vrindavan. And especially if you hear Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is the Prayojana Gyan, the topmost elevated, when you learn to associate with the greatest devotees of the world. So, second to the last verse, third to the last verse. Bharatam Mitta Sarvasvam Vishnu Vaktra Vinihishtam Gita Gango Takam Vidva Punarjanman Vichate. One who drinks the water of the Ganges attains salvation. So what to speak of one who drinks the nectar of Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita is the essential nectar of the Mahabharata, and it is spoken by Lord Krishna himself, the original Vishnu. Now, second to the last verse, very beautiful verse. Sarvo Panishado Gavo Dogdago Palanandanaha Parto Vatsala Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gitamritam. This Gita Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, the essence of all the Upanishad, is just like a cow. And Lord Krishna, who is famous as a cowherd boy, is milking this cow. And Arjuna is just like a calf. And learned scholars and pure devotees, just like a calf, and learned scholars and pure devotees are to drink the nectarian milk of Bhagavad Gita. Just as Arjuna drank the milk of Bhagavad Gita, all devotees must do the same. Otherwise, we should hear, but Prabhupada said at least 3 times that I know of, you must read 1 chapter of Bhagavad Gita every day. And therefore our good Sankirtan leader, Vaisheshika Prabhu, started Chad, 1 chapter a day. You must read either in Sanskrit, English, or whatever language, Kannada, whatever. You should read this Bhagavad Gita every day, 1 chapter. Now, the last verse, Ekam Shastram, Devaki Putra Gitam. If there has to be 1 Shastra, it should be Bhagavad Gita. And Eko Devo, Devaki Putra Eka. And if there's 1 Deva, it should be Krishna, who spoke Bhagavad Gita. Eko Mantra Tasya Namani Yani. And if there's 1 mantra, what should it be? Maha Mantra. No. And Karmat Yekam Tasya Devasya Seva. And if there's 1 activity, that 1 activity is devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of God. So I just want to conclude by saying, Gita Jayanti we celebrate on this day, but the real Gita Jayanti is when Srila Prabhupada translated this Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada, when he came to New York, he wanted to publish Bhagavad Gita. He finished it in when he was living with his family, but it suddenly disappeared. And Prabhupada suspected that it was his wife. He was thinking, Prabhupada getting too much into preaching. He's becoming detached from work. How will we live? No, but there was no confirmation. But then Prabhupada said, he was angry. And he said to his wife, tea or me? And she said, tea. Otherwise, I want to enjoy my life. And so Prabhupada said, all right, you take tea, I'll take Krishna. And then Prabhupada came to New York. He finished translating. It's such a struggle. He was living with 1 crazy boy. First, somebody stole his typewriter. Then he was living with 1 crazy man that started almost attacked him. And so much hardship. And he finally made it. So he told Ram Rai, you go find a publisher to publish it. Nobody wanted to publish it. So he told Brahmananda. Brahmananda was very determined. He said, you get this published. I don't know anything about publishing, Prabhupada. Well, then find out how to do it. So he went, got books, went to the library of publishing, this and that. He went to a few publishers, nobody interested. Then one day they were selling the Hare Krishna record and by mail, and they got an order. Parmananda said, Prabhupada, this order is coming from Macmillan, famous publisher. What should we do? Prabhupada said, oh, you go. And Prabhupada said, well, I will take the manuscript. Prabhupada said, no, go. Oh, I should take the manuscript. But anyway, Prabhupada said to go. So he dressed up in suit and tie, went to this big building, looked like, Goliath, this huge monster. And who am I, some insignificant devotee? How will I convince them? So he went in, let me find this man. And oh no, he was just a clerk. I had no say in how anything getting published. Well, at least I'll sell him the record. So he gave the record, and the man was very happy. He said, he was just getting ready to turn around, and he said, "Oh, sir, here is our publisher." This man came. He came to the desk. This is our publisher. Oh, okay. He said, "Oh, nice to meet you." And then he said, "So, so what are you publishing?" And he said, and Brahmananda said, "Oh, I just brought Bhagavad Gita." The man, Bhagavad Gita. I'm looking for Bhagavad Gita. He said, we have this collection of mystical, spiritual books, and we're missing Bhagavad Gita. Please bring it immediately. So we went back to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, he told the whole story, and Prabhupada went, Prabhupada knew. He knew that Krishna would arrange. So this was actually Gita Jayanti, when Prabhupada's Gita was published and the whole world became purified. So thank you all very much for your attention. I know I went a little longer than usual, but this is a special day. When we remember Bhagavad Gita. And Gita Jayanti in our lives means to do what Prabhupada said, read a chapter every. Then that will be Gita Jayanti daily, Gita Jayanti. And the Gita will actually become born in our hearts and occupy our hearts. And then Prabhupada said, if you learn the 30 essential verses of Bhagavad Gita, you can defeat any philosophy. Just by 30 verses. So what to speak if we learn very carefully Bhagavad Gita systematically, we can. First we defeat our mind and our senses. That's the first defeat. And then we can defeat all these Mayavadis, rascals, atheists, and fools, and people who are trying to bewilder society. Just like I came into the airport yesterday and I saw Ravi Shankar, welcome to the land of inner realization, and give me your money. So this is, and we're giving the real thing. And we don't care if people give money. We want them to give their lives, not their money. Because if they give their life, money will also come. Everything will come. So thank you all very much for your kind attention. I don't know if there's any quick question or something. I don't know.
If anybody has any question.
Krishna Maharaj, Dandavats Pranam. Thank you very much for the enlightening class. Maharaj, I just wanted to know that the common question often asked by people who are not knowing about the path of bhakti is this Bhagavad Gita. As you mentioned in your class, that it's million years old and it's coming from Krishna himself. But can you give some tips or some points that we can say to outsiders that this is, it is very much relevant, and it is so they're like, we have not seen the author. So you are saying Prabhupada has written, but So that's a common, question which they pose for not accepting the authority of Bhagavad Gita, or to take Bhagavad Gita when we want to give them.
Well, because Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Krishna. And Krishna is tu Bhagavan Swayam. In Bhagavatam it says Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. He is the highest truth. So they may not accept that. But Krishna himself establishes Vedaisha Sagarahamiva Vedyo, all the Vedas. So if people don't accept Krishna or Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, to understand that this is actually the highest. It's not the Bhagavad Gita because it's not one of the four Vedas. Like we may run into, what's that group? Arya Samaj, that they say, oh, only the four Vedas. But I went to one Arya Samaj center because I had to go when I went to Guruvayur, because I'm not Indian. I had to go and get a certificate that I'm a Hindu. So I went in there, and so they said, are you Hindu? I said, yes, I follow Bhagavad Gita. Oh, we don't follow Bhagavad Gita. So I said, you follow the Vedas? Can you show me the Vedas? They had these translations, horrible translations. And I said, so you know all the mantras? You know all the Rig Veda? You can recite it? Oh, no. But we follow. So the point is that Bhagavad Gita establishes, who can be higher than Krishna? Even the worshippers of Lakshmi, as Lord Chaitanya said to Venkatabhata, that he said, we follow Vishnu. He said, oh, you follow Vishnu, that is good. But then why does Lakshmi want to enter into the rasa dance? If Vishnu is higher than Krishna, then why does Lakshmi want to enter? So ultimately, Krishna is established as the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the Vedas, in the Upanishads. And so if people can't accept that, then what do they accept? So the main thing I tell people when they try to reject is the proof is in the pudding. Read Bhagavad Gita and read Bhagavad Gita as it is. Srila Prabhupada it says in the beginning of this preface that someone may ask why Bhagavad Gita as it is? Because it establishes the real mood of Bhagavad Gita. And Prabhupada gives this famous example. If you go to the pharmacy and you just say, oh, give me that medicine. I like, the bottle is very pretty. Nice label. Nice red and green and blue. No. We go from the doctor. So who is the doctor prescribing Bhagavad Gita? Krishna himself. He is saying that we must hear this Bhagavad Gita. That just as we just read, Yad va moksha se shubat, or Yad Gyashasi touch trinu. If you just hear this Bhagavad Gita, then you will understand everything. So he's giving the prescription. And if we don't accept Krishna as the supreme person, Prabhupada says in his introduction, at least if you want to understand Bhagavad Gita, at least accept Krishna theoretically. Theoretically, you accept him as the Supreme Personality. And then you try reading Bhagavad Gita with that theoretical perception. And you will see. And if one does that and doesn't understand, then he hasn't done enough pious activities to understand anything. And they will simply be absorbed in material life. Like modern society is trying to tell us that that's the actual purpose of life, to be absorbed in Maya. Is that okay? Right. Anyone else?
Any other question?
So everyone is convinced or hungry?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for the wonderful insights and the points that you shared. Maharaj, we say Mala Nirmorshan, that particular shloka, where eventually all the Mala after we read Bhagavad Gita goes up. How does that process actually work, Maharaj? How does that process actually work? How does it remove all those anarthas and how does it benefit one?
Process? Which process?
Process of cleansing, Maharaj. How does it if somebody is reading Bhagavad Gita, how does this person gain some benefit or derive some benefit out of it?
Well, as Krishna said in the verse we just read, jnana, you have to get the knowledge, but then there has to be vijnana. You don't just understand that I'm a spirit soul, but you understand through Gita that vijnana, I must serve Krishna. I have to surrender to Krishna. I have to serve Krishna. Yat karoshi adashnasi yat chohosi darasi yat pasasi konteya yat karushva amararpanam. You understand that everything I do, everything I eat, everything I give away, all austerities I perform must be done as an offering to Krishna. So if we read we read Bhagavad Gita carefully and we hear Srila Prabhupada's purports, you can't come to any other conclusion. You must do this. And if you don't, then you're just very unfortunate. So, but this, it's very important that I always emphasize, jnana vijnana. We can't just take a Bhakti Shastri course or a Bhakti by Baba course and store the knowledge in the head and go about doing what I want to do in my life. We have to transform. Samskara. Srila Prabhupada said samskara means transformation. So all these samskaras, people in modern society, they just go and do a samskara, agnihotra, and they think, okay, it's done. No, it's supposed to take you to the next level. Just like vivaha samskara, getting married. It's not just so I can have a nice, beautiful wife, or I can have a nice, strong husband. It means that what is the purpose of marriage? The purpose is to learn how to serve, because the husband serving the wife serving the husband. And then when children come, you learn unconditional service. When you have a 2-month-old child, ask any mother, 2-month-old child, you are completely surrendered. The child cries, the child does this, the child wants this. You have to completely surrender. Even when they're, until they get to be 4 or 5 years old, you can give a little discipline. Until then, you're completely surrendered. And so the whole material, all these samskaras are meant to elevate us by practical experience, not just by doing some, hotra, do some mudras and okay, I'm finished now. Now let me go do what I want. That's what people do. Or they come to the temple, give some coconuts and some bananas, and then okay, now I did it. I did my sacrifice. I've said several times, you think with some coconuts and bananas and a few rupees, that then Krishna will give you a car. No. Like Krishna's anyone would love to find that. I told devotees, take some coconuts and bananas to the Toyota dealer and see if you'll get a car with some coconuts and bananas, or 100 rupees or 500 rupees. Or even if you sponsor a feast, 10,000 rupees. See if you get a car. No, we give to Krishna. When we give to Krishna, it must be a sacrifice, not what I have left over. We don't give Krishna our remnants. When I was 1976, we were with Prabhupada in Delhi, and we were taking prasadam, and after prasadam, we would give our plates to the cows. Cows would come stick their head over the wall right at prasadam time. So we were inexperienced devotees. We gave, and Prabhupada called us, and he said, you do not give your remnants to your mother. You take her remnant. First you give to the cow, then you take. And so we understood. So what to speak of Krishna? But many people, they think, well, I have some little something left over, I'll give it to Krishna and I can get a car. So not only do I give Krishna something less, I give him what remnants, what I have left over. No. So we have to be very careful. When we give to Krishna, we give our lives. As the Bhagavatam says, Prayar Artayar Diyavacha. That if you give your life, you give your wealth, you give your intelligence, and you give your words, speech, everything we give to Krishna. And then Krishna will give you everything. And what is everything? Right here. He'll let you understand Bhagavad Gita when you're ready to give. When I'm ready to surrender to Krishna and give everything to Krishna. Yes.
Is it okay for you to share? In the introduction, Swami Prakash Prabhu said there was a life-threatening experience you went through and all. Would you like to share something on that?
So,
Can you share with us a little bit on that?
anyone?
No? In your introduction, in his initial days or something, you didn't mention?
Oh, well, the scientist continued to be a monkey. No, he believed that we came from monkeys. No, Prabhupada said, "All right, then." Prabhupada basically said, "You're a monkey," and he accepted. No, very happy to be. I've evolved from the monkey. I figured it all out. So, and then Prabhupada said afterwards that yes, just see, now everyone is becoming like monkey. Because they believe that we come from monkey, now they're becoming like monkey. So that's the result. So usually, unfortunately, when one is proud, like many scientists, philosophers, they're very proud, and therefore they could not accept what Prabhupada was giving. They had the opportunity. Whereas one television interviewer, when Prabhupada came to him, he was very famous for, like some of these people, they take what you say and they try to discredit you. So he was one of these people. So he invited Prabhupada because he wanted to discredit Krishna consciousness. So they put a chair for Prabhupada. And just as Prabhupada came in, the devotees ran in, took away the chair and put a big vyasas on. The Prabhupada was sitting higher than the man. The man was behind his little desk. And Prabhupada was up here. Prabhupada, in his very regal aspect. And so he said, "So why do you shave your head?" And Prabhupada said, "Oh, very clean." He said, "Just like your military, they also shave their head. It is clean." And it makes everyone the same. So it takes away the pride of the living entity. He was surprised. And he asked 3 or 4 questions. And then he just let Prabhupada talk. So the whole time he didn't ask any more questions. And then he said, "Swami, whenever you come back here, please come to my program." Completely transformed. He was like a rascal. But he became purified. And some of these big scientists that Prabhupada spoke to, they were proud. Or the Mayavadis. Because the Mayavadis probably wouldn't let them say anything. They would say one thing. As soon as they said that Krishna is illusion, Prabhupada stopped them. He wouldn't let them say one more word. And they still wouldn't learn. So we can see that one cannot understand Krishna by intelligence. By intelligence, by the mind, by the senses. You cannot. Dashi Krishna Namani Nabhavet Grahya. We cannot understand Krishna in this way. Sevan Mukhe Jivado. By taking prasadam and chanting the holy name and hearing Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, then we can understand Krishna. Even the most simple person can understand. Where these big scientists, like Einstein, they gave the example. He could not understand Krishna. No. He thought it was just some knowledge coming from some unidentifiable source, or probably some great person in the past who gave this Vedic knowledge. Couldn't understand. So therefore, we should not try to understand Bhagavad Gita intellectually. No. Although we will get real intellect by Bhagavad Gita. Dami buddhi yogam tam, as Krishna said. I will give you real intelligence. And what is that real intelligence? That we understand how to go back to Krishna. That's real intelligence. Okay, so again, thank you all very much for your kind attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi and Anpakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
So we are very fortunate to get to hear from His Holiness Guru Prasad Swami Maharaj about the Bhagavad Gita, and let us express our gratitude by chanting Hare Krishna mantra once. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you, Maharaj, for giving the auspicious beginning for this Gita Jayanti day. Today we have the children from Vidyakshetra Gurukul, run by Makhanlal and his good wife Mataji. So all the children are here for chanting few of the Bhagavad Gita shlokas. Every year they come in the morning and they begin it, and then later the whole 18th chapter recitation starts. So we would like to request you to come and kindly light the lamp and give an auspicious beginning to this occasion. So in the Shastra it is said, Asatoma Sadgamaya, giving up the darkness and come to the light. So as a representation, we light the lamp, but actual lighting, as Maharaj was also telling, that is by the beginning of the getting the knowledge and giving up the ignorance and coming to the light of knowledge. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
गीता जयंती महामहोत्सव के
Jai,
श्री कृष्ण भगवान के
Jai,
श्रील प्रभुपाद की.
Jai.
So now the Vidya Kshetra children can recite. I would request Maharaj to give a short message to all the children. They have come all the way, Maharaj. Just